Hello, I am Sarah and today I am going to make plain muffins. The beauty of these is that it is a base recipe. Once you've sussed out making these, this is especially good for people who don't bake very often or you're just starting to get into baking. A bit like my 3-ingredient biscuits, I'll put a link to them down below because my kids just make them by themselves. They love it and they add stuff to them. They're versatile. And this recipe is very similar to that. It's just a basic plain muffin and it's a blank canvas. You can add things to it. I've just started preheating the oven on bake at 180 degrees Celsius. I'm going to put 2 cups of self-raising flour in a bowl. Doesn't matter if it's an expensive brand or not, I just get the pan stuff. If you don't have self-raising flour, not the end of the world, just use 2 cups of normal flour and put a teaspoon of baking powder for each cup of flour. Now by sieving the flour, rumour has it, you just end up with a nicer, lighter end result. Going to also add into here about 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Now this is one of those personal choice things as well. If you want to just reduce that and add half a cup, go for it. If you taste the end result and want them a little bit sweeter, you do that. Why have I got brown bits in my sugar? I suspect children have been doing things with this sugar. In fact, I know they have. They've been doing things with sugar and cocoa powder. Have kids, they said. It'll be fun, they said. To that, I'm just going to add a little bit of salt, just sort of, but my salt's empty. Someone emptied the salt and didn't refill it. Have kids, they said. A pinch to half a teaspoon. Let's mix that together. And then in a separate bowl, we're going to mix up the wet ingredients. Just got a little bowl, I'm going to put 3/4 of a cup of milk. Doesn't really matter if it's skim or whole milk. And 1/3 of a cup of oil, just your good old canola vegetable type oil. Now you can use melted butter instead. However, I find the oil instead of butter just gives you a much sort of softer end product. And 1 egg. Interestingly enough, cracking eggs, if you're the sort of person who always ends up with shell in your bowl, something to try is instead of cracking it on the side of the bowl, you actually crack it on the bench. And I've seen a few people, there's another YouTuber that I watch called Gled and Friends, he's pretty good, but he always cracks his eggs on the bench, and apparently that's the reason. And I've tried doing that because I think he looks cool doing it. Turns out I don't look cool doing that. We're going to give these a mix up on their own. Before I combine these, this is where you want to add anything. If you're making these a different flavour, you could add a cup of chocolate chips in there. You could put some mashed banana and a couple of tablespoons of custard powder. You could grate an apple and put a couple of teaspoons of cinnamon. You could chuck a couple of tablespoons of cocoa powder in there. Berries, you could blend an orange up, make some orangey type muffins. It's a blank canvas, but I am just making it plain today just to demonstrate. But this is the stage where you would put any additional stuff in there. What we're going to do is make a little well. Now the reason we mix these up separately is because you don't want to overmix it once they're combined. You want to mix this until it's only just incorporated. If you overmix it, then the more sort of solid and rock-like your muffins will end up. So if you want, a nice light muffin that's going to rise up nicely, you want to limit how much you're mixing this. Okay, so got a muffin tray. You can use muffin cups if you so desire instead of greasing the muffin tray. If you haven't got muffin cups and you don't want to grease it, but you want something to put your muffin, you can just use baking paper. You can just cut up little squares of baking paper and just shove them in the muffin tray as well if you want. Gonna take spoonfuls of that. Now of course if you want to make mini muffins, then go for it, do them, get a little mini muffin tray. Of course the baking time will be less, so you just have to experiment. You can If you want to, you could sprinkle a little bit of sugar or coconut or, you know, sprinkles, chocolate, whatever on the top. I'm going to put them in the oven, which is now preheated, as I say, 185 degrees Celsius, for about 25 minutes or until a skewer comes out. It doesn't matter if it's not completely clean, but mostly clean, because we'll leave it for 25 minutes, give or take, in the oven, and then leave it for another 5 minutes to cool off in the tray. And lick the bottom.
Oh, and can I have one of them too? What flavour did you make them?
I decided just to keep them plain for the sake of video. It'll be like a beginner's
Why not
thing.
on video say there was 12, but they got raises?
Not right now, so I can cool it. Okay, I've got my helper here for a taste test. So yummy, so simple. And look at that, just lovely and fluffy on the inside, slightly crunchy on the outside. I concur. The way that top crunches
So
up,
good.
That is really good.
I love the crunchiness.
Yeah,
There's just one thing it needs. I think this would go really good with a bit of lemonade flavouring.
Well, yeah, as I said, you are absolutely right. Squeeze of lemon juice and a bit of the rind.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, and then maybe, just before you put it in the oven, a little dollop of cream cheese in the middle.
Ooh
It could be
yes.
like cream cheese. Oh,
That'd be perfect.
she gives me ideas. She shouldn't give me
Next
these
time,
ideas.
Mum.
They're simple, they're sweet, they're yummy, they are really nice, just as is on their own. Give us a like, hit the subscribe button for more ideas, and we'll catch you next week. Bye.